Thank you, Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
Ranking Member, and all of our members for considering this important matter. You know, when you have major changes to a tax code made after decades, you would expect to have well-informed, well-reasoned, bipartisan debate, not a situation where not one member of the Trump administration had the courage to come forward and face the committee, as we are facing you tonight, to explain what their bill did and answer some questions about it and how the different provisions work. In fact, we had no witness at all come before the committee to explain or defend this bill, though Mr. Brady certainly provided, as he's doing tonight, very able advocacy for it. I think it's beginning to look a lot like the failed attempts to repeal Obamacare and rushing it through here before America knows what's really hit it. And I understand the committee is contemplating having to waive one of the so-called reform rules that would require a higher percentage of our House to vote for any tax increase. And I think that possibility of a waiver is understandable, because there are about 36 million people that are estimated to face a tax increase if this bill should pass. The bill really is a corporate tax break that is the tail that's wagging the dog under the claim of middle-class tax relief. One economist after another, Mark Zandi being one example from Moody Analytics, has said that because you do add so much debt, going on a borrowing spree to China, the Saudis, the Gulf states, others, to finance this $2.3 trillion when you include the carrying charges under a best-case scenario, that because of that, any early boost in growth that you get will be offset by increasing interest rates and debt, squeezing out private investment. So it really is a low-growth bill, and when you add to that some of the complex provisions that have been added in the international system, I think you actually get a job exporting or job outsourcing bill. I agreed, Mr. Chairman, with what you said in your opening remarks about treating everybody the same way. And that's the thrust of one of the amendments that I presented to the committee, which is let's treat all the profits the same way. Why incentivize people to build in new investment in Dalian instead of in Dallas? Why have a lower rate over there than the rate that would apply to a business that would be added in Texas? So I particularly urge the committee's consideration of stopping the outsourcing of American jobs. We've had too much of that. And then the second area of concern that I have, that I've offered an amendment to the committee, is also related to jobs and the recognition that whether it is in Dallas or Austin or most any other part of the country, one of the major challenges that our employers face in growing the American economy is having a skilled, competitive workforce to fill positions that are already available. And that's why I find it so incredible that instead of using tax reform to empower our workers and strengthen them, that this actually takes money away, about $65 billion. And this is not just the interest on student loans, though that's a big factor. But if you, for example, in the skilled workforce, if you've got a small business in Texas that wants to have more skilled welders, and they don't have the training program within their own company, and they say, if you'll go down and get a course at the community college on welding, or maybe it's in nursing to have somebody who's better prepared as a cardiac nurse for a training program that's not there, we'll pay your tuition. Well, under this bill, that student, that worker, will be taxed because the employer paid the tuition. Graduate students really get hit. I just got contact today from a student in Austin who said she'd have to drop out of her PhD program if she got the kind of tax increase that's in this bill. So I think, Mr. Chairman, we won't do two-on-one on Mr. Brady too much here, though he certainly handled more than that in committee. But I would just say, I think particularly in the education area, in the outsourcing of jobs, in the unfairness of having Pfizer end up paying a much lower tax rate than the corner pharmacy, that the bill's not fair, it comes at a tremendous cost, and it ought not to be rushed through the committee. I'm available to answer any questions you might have.